Before we begin this extraordinary journey into the hidden ritual every soul faces, let me invite you, yes, you, to subscribe to this channel right now. Why? Because what you are about to hear is not just another story, but a revelation. If you believe that life continues beyond the veil of death, if you feel a calling to understand the mysteries of the soul, this channel is where truth, light, and rare wisdom await you. Don't just watch. Become part of a community that seeks answers where most fear to look. Now let us step into the mystery Edgar Cayce revealed. According to Cayce, death is not an ending, but a doorway. The very moment the body releases its last breath, the soul awakens into a new dimension of existence. And yet, in the first 24 hours, every soul faces a hidden ritual. A passage through phases of remembrance, release, and revelation. The first stage is the invitation to light. The soul, freed from the body, immediately perceives an illumination that feels alive and intelligent. Cayce described it as the first call of the spirit world, a beckoning into truth. Some experience it as a soft glow, others as a brilliance overwhelming in its purity. The light is not external, it resonates with the inner condition of the soul. Here, the hidden ritual begins. The soul feels torn between two worlds, the earthly attachments it still perceives and the pull of eternity. It is a sacred threshold, and the decision to trust the light sets the tone for all that follows in the first 24 hours. Cayce warned that this moment is crucial, for the soul's response mirrors the habits it cultivated in life. Fear dims the light, while faith and love draw it closer. And so, within the very first moments, the soul has already entered the ritual, a test not of punishment, but of truth. As the soul steps beyond the veil, the first hour after death is filled with echoes. Edgar Cayce often spoke of how the consciousness does not immediately lose awareness of the earthly plane. The body may lie still, but the soul feels vibrations, voices of loved ones, the weight of unfinished business, even the strong emotions present in the room. It is as if the last threads of earthly attachment still hum around the spirit, like fading notes of a song. This hour is critical. Cayce explained that the hidden ritual requires a gentle separation from these echoes. The soul must begin to release what no longer belongs to it. Yet this is not an instant process. Some souls linger near familiar places, reluctant to let go. They hear their names spoken, sense the grief of family members, and feel the pull of earthly love or regret. The hidden test here is attachment. Will the soul cling to the echoes, or will it allow itself to be drawn forward into the greater reality? Cayce emphasized the importance of prayers, blessings, and thoughts of peace offered by the living during this stage. Such vibrations act like bridges, helping the soul to move gracefully beyond the shadows of attachment. Loving thoughts illuminate the path, while despair and fear can create confusion. In this way, the living participate in the ritual as well, even if they are unaware. The separation of echoes is not punishment, it is mercy. For the soul cannot carry the full weight of earthly grief and desire into the higher realms. This hour is like standing on a shoreline, hearing the waves of the past crash behind, while a quiet wind calls the traveler into the open sea. By the end of the first hour, the echoes begin to fade. The soul realizes that while it can sense the earthly world, it is no longer bound to it. A subtle shift occurs, the awareness of being a spirit, not a body. And this shift propels the soul deeper into the ritual that awaits in the hours to come. The journey has only just begun, but already the soul understands the first step of eternity is letting go. Having released the first echoes of earthly life, the soul now feels itself drawn into what Edgar Cayce described as a corridor of light. This is not a physical passage as we know it, but an experience of movement, an undeniable sense of being carried forward as if by an invisible current. The corridor appears differently to each soul. For some, it is filled with golden radiance that feels warm and protective. For others, it shimmers with colors unknown to human eyes, hues that seem alive and pulsing with intelligence. Cayce explained that the appearance of this passage reflects the inner condition of the soul. The more harmony, faith, and love the soul cultivated in life, the brighter and more welcoming the corridor appears. Those who resisted growth may experience it as dim, yet always present, waiting to be entered. During these hours, the ritual deepens. The soul begins to sense presences nearby, guides, protectors, or even familiar loved ones who have already crossed over. Some stand at a distance, radiating encouragement, while others come closer, offering reassurance that the soul is not alone in this journey. Cayce often said that no soul crosses the threshold entirely unaccompanied. The divine always sends guidance, though recognition may vary. Yet even here, the test remains. The soul feels the pull of memory, faces, places, unfinished desires. The corridor invites trust, asking the traveler to walk forward into the light. Hesitation slows the progress, but surrender brings peace. The second and third hours reveal a profound truth. Eternity is not chaos, but order. The soul begins to realize that there is design in every step of this hidden ritual. Just as life had purpose, so too does death's transition. The light does not rush the traveler, it waits with patience. But with every step, the awareness of separation from the body deepens. By the close of this stage, the soul feels lighter, freer. The body and the world it left behind grow dim, while the presence of the corridor becomes undeniable. The ritual has claimed the soul not by force, but by love, guiding it toward the greater unveiling that lies ahead. As the soul journeys deeper into the corridor of light, the hidden ritual reaches a turning point. Edgar Cayce described how, in these hours, the soul begins to encounter what many traditions call the life review. This is not a judgment imposed from outside, but a revelation that rises from within. It is the soul's own spirit holding up a mirror, reflecting every action, thought, and intention lived on earth. The review begins subtly. At first, the soul experiences fleeting images, moments of kindness, moments of anger, times when love was given freely, and times when fear or selfishness took its place. Soon, these moments expand into a panorama. The soul feels not only what it did, but also how those actions rippled into the lives of others. If it brought joy, the soul feels that joy magnified. If it caused pain, the soul feels the wound it left behind. Cayce insisted that this stage is not about punishment. Instead, it is about understanding. The light does not accuse, nor does the guide condemn. The ritual reveals truth so that the soul may see itself clearly, perhaps for the first time. Every excuse, every self-deception fades away under the purity of this vision. Here, the soul cannot hide behind masks. It must acknowledge what it has sown. For some, this review brings deep gratitude. They see how even small gestures, an encouraging word, a moment of patience, created ripples of healing far beyond what they imagined. For others, it stirs sorrow as they realize how fear or neglect limited their potential. Yet even in sorrow, there is mercy. Cayce described the light as unwavering, surrounding the soul with love even while truth is revealed. This part of the ritual teaches one profound lesson: nothing is ever wasted. Even failures become teachers. Even pain can lead to wisdom. The life review shows the soul not only what it has been, but also what it may yet become. By the end of the 6th hour, the soul begins to feel a shift in perspective. The life just lived is no longer something to cling to, but a chapter inscribed in eternity. The review does not chain the traveler. It prepares the spirit for what lies beyond, the crossing into higher realms of existence. After the soul has faced the beginning of the life review, the hidden ritual moves into a stage Edgar Cayce described as the crossing of realms. Between the 7th and 10th hours, the soul begins to step further away from the vibrations of earth and enter the finer frequencies of the spiritual planes. This is not a passage through space, but through vibration. The soul feels itself moving, as if carried by invisible currents, upward and outward. Some describe it as being lifted, others as expanding in every direction at once. Cayce emphasized that this sensation is universal. The soul is adjusting to a new level of existence, one not bound by the limits of time or gravity. During this crossing, the soul often perceives harmonies that defy earthly imagination. Colors and sounds merge into one living symphony, as though creation itself is singing. Every particle seems alive, infused with intelligence and love. For many, this is the moment awe takes hold, the realization that death is not darkness, but a wider awakening into order and beauty. Guides remain close during this phase. Some souls see radiant figures walking alongside them. Others sense the presence of loved ones who once traveled this path and have returned to encourage. The message is always the same. You are not alone. Continue forward. Yet the ritual still holds its test. For some souls, attachment to the earthly plane pulls like a shadow. They may hesitate, wondering about their families, their unfinished dreams, their regrets. Cayce warned that lingering in this hesitation can create confusion, leaving the soul half in shadow, half in light. But the guide, patient and steady, encourages release. To surrender is to be carried fully into the realm of spirit. By the close of the 10th hour, the soul senses that earth is far behind, not forgotten, but distant. The light grows stronger, the presence of guides more vivid. The ritual of crossing is not forced, it is an invitation. Those who accept find themselves welcomed into a reality where the next stage of the hidden journey awaits. The first 10 hours reveal the truth. We are eternal travelers, and death is only a doorway. What lies ahead will uncover even deeper mysteries in the ritual of the first 24 hours. As the hours unfold, the soul passes deeper into the ritual Edgar Cayce described, and between the 11th and 15th hour, the experience shifts once again. Until now, the light has been like a corridor, guiding, protective, illuminating. But here, the soul encounters what Cayce called the greater light, a brilliance not external, but universal, as though all creation is concentrated into one presence. This encounter is not frightening, though its magnitude overwhelms. The light feels alive, intimate, and infinite all at once. The soul perceives that it is standing within the very essence of truth, the heart of the universe. Cayce often said that this greater light is nothing less than the presence of God, a force that does not destroy individuality, but fulfills it. In this stage, the hidden ritual deepens into communion. The soul senses waves of understanding pouring into it, revealing truths that were once hidden. Questions about life, suffering, and purpose begin to dissolve. It is not that every detail is explained, rather, the soul perceives that behind every detail there was always meaning. What felt random now appears ordered. What seemed cruel now reveals itself as opportunity for growth. Here, many souls experience encounters with beings of extraordinary radiance. Cayce described them as messengers or guardians. Some may perceive them as angels, others as figures from their faith, and still others as nameless presences radiating peace. These encounters are not illusions. They are reflections of the soul's readiness to perceive higher truth. Yet the ritual continues its hidden test. Can the soul accept the immensity of the greater light without fear? Can it let go of the last remnants of ego, the need to control, to possess, to define? For some, this stage feels like standing on the edge of an infinite sea, unsure whether to step forward. For others, surrender comes naturally, like a return home after a long journey. By the 15th hour, the soul realizes that it has not been abandoned to chaos, but invited into a relationship. The greater light does not consume, it embraces. It whispers, not with words but with presence, "You have always belonged here." And so the ritual moves forward. carrying the soul closer to the final unveiling of the first 24 hours beyond death. Between the 16th and 20th hour, Edgar Cayce described a profound stage of the hidden ritual, an encounter with what he called the Council of Remembrance. This is not a tribunal of punishment, but a gathering of wisdom, a collective presence of higher beings who help guide the soul in understanding its eternal journey. The council does not appear the same to every soul. Some perceive it as a circle of radiant figures, clothed in light, emanating peace and authority. Others feel it as a vast consciousness, many voices speaking as one, without conflict or division. Regardless of form, the message is consistent. The soul has reached a place of accountability, not to be condemned, but to remember. Here, the earlier life review deepens. With the guidance of the council, the soul begins to see its life not only in fragments, but as a whole tapestry woven with choices, lessons, and consequences. The council does not accuse, it reflects. They allow the soul to understand how every action, even the smallest, shaped its path and the paths of others. Cayce often taught that the soul is its own judge, and here that truth becomes undeniable. The hidden ritual at this stage carries another test, the willingness to accept responsibility without despair. The soul must look upon both its light and its shadow and acknowledge them fully. For those who resist, who cling to denial, this stage can feel heavy. But for those who surrender to truth, the council becomes not a burden, but a blessing, a chance to see with clarity, to release shame, and to embrace growth. Cayce described that during these hours, some souls also recall glimpses of previous lives. Patterns emerge, lessons repeated across centuries, growth achieved and growth delayed. The council does not force these revelations. They arise naturally when the soul is ready to see beyond a single lifetime. By the close of the 20th hour, the soul understands something profound. Life is never wasted. Every struggle, every success, every failure was a step in an eternal journey. The council radiates assurance that nothing is beyond redemption. The ritual of remembrance is not to imprison, but to free, to prepare the soul for what lies ahead in the final hours of its first day beyond death. As the soul enters the final hours of its first day beyond death, the hidden ritual reaches its culmination. Edgar Cayce explained that between the 21st and 24th hour, the soul stands at a threshold unlike any other. The echoes of earth are gone, the life review complete, the council's wisdom absorbed. Now, the soul prepares for its true placement in the spiritual realms, a transition into the dimension that matches its inner vibration. Here, the greater light expands into infinity. The soul feels embraced not by one presence, but by the source itself. It is not a loss of identity, but its fulfillment, a recognition that individuality and unity coexist. The soul perceives that it has always been part of this eternal current, even while walking in the limitations of earthly life. At this stage, the ritual reveals its purpose, preparation. The first 24 hours are not about punishment, but alignment. The soul has shed its earthly attachments, remembered its eternal nature, reviewed its choices, and encountered the counsels of wisdom. Now it must step fully into the plane where its lessons will continue, whether in rest, further growth, or preparation for another incarnation. Cayce emphasized that every soul is met with mercy. Some may enter realms of peace and harmony, others into dimensions where further learning awaits, but none are abandoned. The ritual ensures that every soul receives exactly what it needs to progress. What feels hidden to the living is natural to the spirit. Death is not chaos, but an ordered unfolding of truth. In these final hours, the soul experiences a serenity beyond description. Questions dissolve into clarity. Fear gives way to peace. The body it once inhabited seems like a distant memory, and the struggles of earthly existence appear as stepping stones, necessary lessons leading to this embrace. By the 24th hour, the hidden ritual is complete. The soul has been tested, guided, and revealed. It now continues its eternal journey, carrying with it the wisdom of truth and the assurance that life, in every form, is sacred. If this journey through Edgar Cayce's vision has awakened something within you, don't let it fade. Subscribe to this channel today and join a community dedicated to uncovering the mysteries of life, death, and the soul's eternal path. Share this message with those you love, and let us grow together in truth and light. Every view, every comment, every subscription helps spread wisdom that the world desperately needs. Right below, I am ready for the light if you feel called to embrace this truth. Let us see how many souls are awakening together. Death is not the end, it is the beginning. Stay with us, for the journey has only just begun.